Host or guests do not state or reflect those of the company, its management, sponsors, or any entities they represent.
Oh, it's lit. We prime time. Subscribe, like, and share. Give us your feedback. Yo, I'm Manny at the plate and Kobe off of steel. Gretzky for the goal and Brady at the wheel. I'm a game changer, the Osaka of the tennis. And breaking scoreboard, Simone of the Olympics. Defense and big business, the Mayweather who way better. From the greatness of Jim Brown, I've been down. Talking sports before I was off the porch. Screaming Bo knows while Jordan was playing horse. Late 80s getting torched by the drive and the shot. 2016 got a ring off the 3 in the block. They eased to forgot the cardiac kids. Price and Doherty, Bell in the Indian years. This who it is. Your host DeeTrynt, yo, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer. Yo, your host DeeTrynt, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer.
Yo, man, what's really good, man? DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, Industry Sports, streaming on multiple media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, X, you know what I'm saying, Twitch, YouTube. Follow us on IG at DeeTrynt or at Industry Sports. If you miss the live replays, you can catch if you missed the live streams, you can catch the replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and various other streaming platforms. Just look for the Industry Sports channel, like, subscribe, share, follow. Once you get in there, you'll see Game Changer Sports Talk with yours truly, DeeTrynt. Man, what's really popping, man? I guess it's kind of a lot to unpack today. Because as it was said to me, the Browns collapsed to 2-8 yesterday. And it was, I ain't gonna lie. Yesterday's game was probably the most I've been invested in a Browns game all season. You know, I gotta say this in the beginning, right? The Browns are only good on one side of the ball. Okay, they're only good on offense. I mean, on defense. The offense is not good. It's not. It is abysmal. The Browns team is it's not good, man. It doesn't really matter who plays QB for the Browns right now because the Browns offense is just bad. Now that defense though, that Browns defense is top tier. Shout out to Myles Garrett, who should be very much one of the big contenders for Defensive Player of the Year. Shout out to Carson Schlesinger, who should be a leading candidate for Defensive Rookie of the Year. These guys just play out of their minds. Ronnie Hickman has really emerged as a quality defensive back on this team. He just shows up when it matters. Devin Bush, a former top 10 pick from a rival team. Ironically, he had his knee injury against us that costed him a couple years, about 2.5 seasons for real. And he's really reemerged here as a reliable linebacker of a set. Malik Collins is probably one of the most underrated signings of the offseason. His impact on that defensive line, which allows Myles Garrett to just be even more dominant than he already is naturally. We appreciate y'all, okay? Mason Graham has been steady emerging. He's been doing what he do. Some people don't feel like he is playing at top 2 pick level, top 5 pick actually level. And I don't see how people get to this point. Um, Mike Hall, uh, defensive tackle that we got last year. He is really coming on too as a defensive player. Grant Delpit is having himself a Pro Bowl season. Denzel Ward is Denzel Ward. Tyson Campbell has been a nice addition to this defense since being traded from Jacksonville here for Greg Newsome. And I've been hearing Greg Newsome has been playing pretty good so far. So shout out, to teams making multiple trades with each other, and it's seemingly working out for both teams. Um, this Browns defense is just top tier, bro. Like uh, I don't. This is a Super Bowl contending defense. This this defense is just incredible, man. I think calling this defense incredible is an understatement. Now, I still have nitpick issues as far as when they drop in zone. I don't like the way that they're able to give up unnecessary plays in zone. To the credit, as much as I give them they praise, the winning touchdown did come on their behalf. In all fairness, though, you know, the Ravens have a high powered offense. Okay. When you have a Lamar Jackson and you combine that with a Derrick Henry, and give props to Mark Andrews, who not only became the Ravens' leading receiver in yards yesterday, playing against the Browns, but he also scored the game-winning touchdown. Um, you know, but this Browns defense, it is incredible. And we as Browns fans
Can't believe they
need
let
to talk
Andrews
about
hit him with the Rooski, man.
huh?
I can't believe they let Andrews hit him with the Rooski. I just bust out laughing and mad at the same time. Just
No,
mad
for
and
real.
like it's like no, I'm screaming you, not the Rooski. Like oh man.
You know, they've been doing that all season, bro. Just like they'll have these incredible games, and then right when you think, they've definitely figured out, how to really put a game away, they don't put the game away. I'll be very much upset at them, but at the same token, uh, they shouldn't be in these positions a lot of times anyway. They play well enough for the Browns offense to have significant leads when they get to this point of the game. And unfortunately, they just don't. The Browns offense sucks. I I don't know how to say this any other way. The Browns offense sucks. Let me tell you how good the Browns defense is, though. The Browns defense held Lamar Jackson to 14 of 25 passing, 193 yards. He threw 2 interceptions. One was for a pick six. He also was sacked 5 times for 26 yards. He had a QBR of 25.7 and a quarterback rating of 47.6. Derrick Henry had 18 carries for 103 yards and a touchdown, but he literally got 60 of those yards on one play. So for 17 carries, the Browns defense held Derrick Henry to 40 something yards. Okay. Mark Andrews had one big play in this game, and it was the play to decide the game. Zay Flowers, their top receiver had 3 receptions for 78 yards. and his biggest play came on in like the first half. Okay. LeJounte Webster, who was their kick returner, fumbled a punt, which put the Browns inside of the 20. And the Ravens do have a nice defense, okay? But yesterday, that defense could have been taken advantage of. And the Browns just cannot seem to find a way. They just cannot seem to find a way to pull off these games. Oh, they be pissing me off so bad, bro. They be making me so mad. Even with that said, the Browns led for majority of the game. From the second quarter up until the fourth quarter, the Browns were actually winning the game. Okay? But unfortunately, this offense is trash. Okay. So let's talk about some of the things the Browns offense did and did not do. Dylan Gabriel started the game. Before he had to leave the game, he was 7 for 10 for 68 yards. He had been sacked once. He had a QBR of 88.8. No, a quarterback rating of 88.8 and a QBR of 11.4. 7 of 10 sounds like he was doing really good. But that is not really what happened. His 7 for 10 is fool's gold because he missed just wide open blatant passes. Dylan Gabriel plays scared. He plays scared, bro. He plays too scared for me to overlook it. Now, let me say this too. I've been a big defender of Stefanski. A lot of people are ready to chalk Kevin Stefanski as a coach, as a play caller, and as a football mind altogether. Like, I feel like Pop, bad boy is an entity at the regular. Like, people are just tired of Kevin Stefanski. And to some degree, it is legitimate. I'm not going to say the things that people point out about Stefanski's demeanor or lack thereof. Hold on. I'm not going to sit here and say it is unreasonable. Kevin Stefanski does things that make everyone question if he knows football. I've said over the last few weeks that I think Kevin Stefanski wants to get fired. I don't think he wants to be a Cleveland coach anymore. And the reason I say that is because it's a lot to deal with to be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. You're dealing with an organization who hasn't seen consistent winning since the 80s. Of a football team that people could respect. We're talking.
I don't know. You lagged out for a minute. I just put you back on the screen after you said 80s.
Oh, okay, bet. I know.
At the 80s.
Yeah, they haven't had a consistent winner since the 80s. They've been, since 85 when it was Bernie with Webster Slaughter and Brian Brennan and Ozzie Newsome. And, you have Frank Minifield and, it's just been a while since Cleveland fans have seen anything of respectability. You had a few flashes in the 90s before the team became the team that we played, right? Before they became the Ravens. But the team has just been bad. So when you come be the head coach of the Browns, most fans are expecting you to turn this franchise around as soon as possible. They expect to have a respectable product on the field. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But context matters. I understand that, this franchise over here has had dang. Am I lagging out again? Oh my God. I just synced it. Am I back now? I just synced it. Okay, I synced it. And where I'm at with it is you just gotta have more patience. I don't mean to sound rude when I say this, but I genuinely mean this. If you are still upset that the Browns haven't got there yet, you are just impatient. I'm not saying you're irrational, and I'm not saying that you don't have legitimate reasons to have high concern, but it's still irrational to me. Okay. Unlike other franchises, the Browns don't have an identity. Identity matters because when you have an identity, then you know what type of players help you keep the standard. When you don't have a standard to maintain and you're still searching, everybody is an option. And as the saying goes, when you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. All right. So Dylan Gabriel played, and then Dylan Gabriel got a concussion. Dylan Gabriel, as far as I know, is still in concussion protocol. And if I'm just going off track record, he probably won't be out of concussion protocol until about Thursday or Friday. Is it possible he can come out sooner? It's always possible. But probably around Thursday, which is really too late to try to start him. So, it's very much possible in my mind that he doesn't play. The other thing about this is Shedeur Sanders got to play. Shedeur Sanders makes his NFL debut in the second half of the Browns game with the Browns leading 13-16. Or I think it was up 16-0. I mean 16-10 actually when he came in. And on record, I've been saying I haven't wanted Shedeur to play this year. And my reasoning is the offense sucks. So you're putting him in a losing position. The one thing that I haven't said that I need to express now that he's played is Shedeur gives me hope. Okay? Seeing Shedeur Sanders on the field gives me hope as a Browns fan. It gives me maybe consider, and you could consider, I ain't gonna say maybe, you consider this an unrealistic optimism about what the team could become. Okay? Because when it comes to being a leader and being accountable and having certain traits that you cannot teach, he has them. And he comes from the genes of someone who was considered arguably one of the best football players to ever play the game. Not one of the best position players, one of the best athletes to ever play sports. Okay, shout out to Coach Brown, Deion Sanders. He has talented children, and I don't like having unrealistic hope. I am too invested in sports emotionally. And because of this, I've had to learn the hard way to dial back my fandom, okay, my fanaticism. So when Shedeur was in the game, I was very much happy, which ties into the context of why yesterday's game versus the Browns versus Ravens was the most invested I've been in a football game. And it also highlighted why I didn't want him to play this season. The Browns' offensive line sucks. I know Wyatt Teller came out and said we had never played with Shedeur. And I can understand people's gripe about why Shedeur never got first team reps. And yesterday, you kind of seen why. Because when you give a rookie quarterback first team reps, if you want him to thrive, you have to give him all the reps all the time. When you have two rookie quarterbacks on your roster, there is no reasonable, realistic way to give both of them first team reps because now you introduce what got introduced yesterday, which is locker room divide. Now, some people will argue, oh, the locker room already been divided. No, it wasn't. Okay? What you think could happen versus what actually happens is not always the same thing. I'm not saying people don't have enough, intelligence or instinct to predict things. I'm not never saying that. There's a lot of people that have that. But putting the cart before the horse is a good way to give you expectations. In my opinion, expectations are the gateway to letdown. It is the bridge to disappointment. Expecting, especially when you don't control the aspects of what you're expecting. And we as Browns fans do not control the practices or the way each player is going to play. We don't. So Shedeur comes in, and let me say this. Shedeur energized the entire team. The entire offense and the entire defense played with even more aggressiveness and more emotion that they've played with all season. Okay? And because of that, I think it's hard for Kevin Stefanski to realistically put Dillon Gabriel back into the game. I was always under the impression that this was probably the only year Dillon Gabriel in his career was going to start majority of the games as a starting quarterback. Because I just don't view him as a franchise guy in no shape, form, or capacity. I always, and I've said this multiple times, that Dillon Gabriel is a career backup, emergency quarterback who has a high ceiling as a potential offensive coordinator in the future. I've always said this. Shedeur has franchise quarterback capabilities. Does he have some things he need to work on? Yes. But he has franchise quarterback capabilities. And his first two passes were on the money. Heaters. I mean, he's Tillman on the out. Njoku over the middle. Okay? Which in turn made the Ravens say, oh, we got to go at him. And after his first two passes, they blitzed him every play, except for a couple. They blitzed him every play. They just was trying to dog my guy. Okay? I didn't like seeing Shedeur take certain hits. I don't like the fact that this offensive line has a bunch of multi-year players on here and they don't know how to communicate and pick up blocking assignments. I argue that the offensive line left Shedeur out to dry on quite a few plays. But when you look at and evaluate a guy who has the potential to be a franchise quarterback, one of my key components is, does he give you a chance to win the game? Does it matter? Another component is, does he inspire the team around him to play better than what they are? Okay. And you've seen glimpses of both of those things yesterday. Now, a lot of people don't like Shedeur, and they would love nothing more than to see him fail. And I don't condone any fan who just wants to see any athlete fail, because it's hard enough as an athlete to make it to the big leagues. And if you do make it, there was something about you that said you have a chance. But that offensive line is horrible. Okay. Cedric Tillman played, and he had a couple great catches. But Cedric Tillman is not a game changer at wide receiver. Jerry Jeudy is out of position. People say he has number 2 receiver talent, and I just feel like he has. Who calling me right now? Stop calling me. I'm busy. And he has. Jerry Jeudy is a slot receiver who should be returning kicks. I know a lot of people are not going to like that I say that, and I don't care. Jerry Jeudy is an overrated starting receiver. And until he proves me different, I don't have no reason to budge off that outlook. But he did play with a little more moxie yesterday. Got a key first down on the last drive that he went all out for. Caught the ball, made a couple guys miss, slipped a guy, made it to the first down. Where the fuck has that Jerry Jeudy been all year? Where? But I'm glad you showed up. After blitzing Shedeur so many times, you had seen him come on the last drive. And he, on the very first play, the Ravens didn't blitz him. And he hit Harold Phantom for like a 40-yard bomb over the middle. Beautiful pass. Let me say, Shedeur Sanders throws a beautiful pass. His passes just look good. Okay? Whenever he steps back and he delivers a strike, you just have this belief that it's going to be completed. And Shedeur came in and did what he could. He didn't have the greatest showing. He was like 4 for 14 or something. Let me say it accurately. He was 4 for 16, 47 yards and an interception. Now, he threw an interception on his second drive, which he was getting hit. And, because of him not having any chemistry with the people that start on the Browns offense, I don't really hold him too much accountable for that. I mean, he's accountable for throwing a bad pass and getting it picked off, but I understand context matters. But yet, he gave you a chance to win. After blitzing Shedeur so much, they tried it again, and he beat a rush. I call this the Aaron Rodgers spin. Is that spinning the wrong way that gets you into the open field and gives you a chance to reset and throw a guy open. And he had Isaiah Bond open in the back of the end zone. And unfortunately, they didn't connect. But, it wasn't that far from connecting. And had they connected, we'd be having a whole different conversation about today. He also threw a back shoulder throw to Gage Lavardian. I think it should have been face guarded on this play, but it wasn't called. And Gage Lavardian still had a chance to catch this pass. But we could not run the ball. And because of that, Quinshawn wasn't on the field a lot when Shedeur was in. people talked about the play calling changing when Shedeur got in. Well, he's a different type of quarterback than Dylan. So it's going to be hard to call Dylan plays for Shedeur because Shedeur isn't Dylan. You have to call Shedeur type plays for Shedeur. One of the Browns' Achilles' heels on offense is your best two offensive receiving weapons are arguably your best blockers on the team, which is sad. Okay. When I say which is sad, people will probably say, "Oh, but Andrew Berry picked the players and Kevin Stefanski runs the team." And bro, the offense is in rebuild. It's in rebuild. It's not. It's not there. It's not. It's just. It's just talentless or talent minimal. Eh. Oh man, I was so disappointed that the Browns did not win. Okay, I was hurt that the Browns did not win, even though I knew that the Browns probably wasn't going to win. I picked them to win by 3. I did, but I always pick the Browns to win. So it's just routine. But Shedeur gave the Browns multiple chances to win. He had a few passes that were dropped. One went through Judy's hands, and one went through Fannon's hands, and that's cool. But he gave us a chance to win, and that's all you can really ask for from the quarterback. But now that Shedeur's played, it's hard. It's going to be really hard for Kevin Stefanski to go back to Dylan Gabriel. And
Mary Kay, she reported probably like an hour ago that it's looking like it's a go for Shedeur starting in Vegas. So let's see what
with
happens.
so Shedeur played against the Ravens defense, who's a very good defense. And now he's going to get a full week of number one starting reps against a team in the Raiders who aren't that good. The Las Vegas Raiders have a record of 2-7. Uh, they have Geno Smith and Ashton Genty and Brent Bowers, or is it Brent Bowers? Is that his name? The tight end. And let me make sure I say his name. Trey Tucker, their leading receiver? That's crazy. Oh yeah, Bowers was out for a couple games, so that makes sense. Let me make sure. Is his name Brent? I don't know if that's his name. Brock. Brock Bowers. My fault. My fault, homie. Because Brock fired. Okay, but Brock Bowers. And I fully expect Shedeur to show out. Okay. Having a week with this team, I would very much pick them to beat the Raiders. The problem is now the Browns are going to be expected to win games that I didn't want them to win. Why? Because now I feel like in order for the Browns to get the receiver that I want them to get, they're going to have to trade up in the draft. And I didn't want them to do that. I wanted them to be able to get my guy in the top 3. Yes, y'all. I was very much okay with the Browns tanking this year because the offense sucks. But I cannot downplay the fact that defense plays its heart out. Myles Garrett is progressing to be the leader that I always thought he could be, that he just wasn't showing. And Myles, I very much appreciate you guys. You're having a spectacular season. With 7 games left in the year, you already have 15 sacks. And I predicted 2 seasons ago that you could get 25 sacks in a season. You didn't do it that year. But this is the year where I think you proved me right. This is the year where I would bet on Myles breaking the sack record. And I very much could see Myles getting 25 sacks. If Miles has another 4 or 5 sack game, he sacked Lamar Jackson 4 times yesterday. And now he's going against Geno Smith. And I don't see how he couldn't sack Geno Smith 6 times. I don't see how he couldn't. Do you know if Myles Garrett gets 5 or 6 sacks in the next game, he will be at 20 sacks? And the record for sacks in the season is 23, which means he will have 6 complete games to get 3 sacks. The problem with him doing this is not a playoff team. Myles Garrett will probably be the defensive player of the year on a team that is trash on the offensive and special teams end. And I don't like putting those words in the same paragraph. It is unfair. It is unrealistic. But I'm glad Myles Garrett plays for us. So, Shedeur unfortunately was not able to win the game for us. Hold on. Shedeur was not able to win the game for us, even though we very much would have liked to see him pull it out. But he's going to have, this is my prediction. Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku are probably going to have the best games that they've played all season or in the last couple seasons against the Raiders. Quinshon Judkins is probably going to have one of his best games of the season. He's already had good games, but with Shedeur starting, man, Quinshon could probably go for 200 yards. I know people are going to be like, bro, you just got unrealistic hope into Shedeur. And that may be possible, but as I've already said, I believe in Shedeur. I've been believing in Shedeur. So you're giving him a whole week of prep, especially after seeing how that team was just invigorated by him starting. And I just don't see how Dillon Gabriel gets back on the field. In my opinion, Dillon Gabriel's season is over. Did you see how that stadium erupted when Shedeur got in the game? I'm mad that they playing in Vegas and I'm supposed to be in Vegas. I'm upset. I don't like it. I'm upset. But nonetheless, I think Shedeur is probably going to throw for close to 300 yards. Shedeur is probably going to throw multiple touchdowns because Shedeur understands how to play the game. And now that he's starting, you don't think Coach Prime is going to be on his line telling him what to expect. Okay. Shedeur, though, let me say this, Shedeur. Stop running backwards, bro. Please learn how to navigate the pocket. Also, don't hold the ball. In the NFL, if your receiver has one-on-one coverage, he is open. I need you to understand that. If your receiver is one-on-one, he's open. Unless he's being guarded by a guy who's just that phenomenal, and I don't know no defensive back on the Raiders team that's just that phenomenal, you throw that ball. The play calling is going to look a lot different for Shedeur. It's probably going to be some of the best play calling of the season. That defense is going to play lights out. I predicted multiple times this season that the Browns will put up 40 points, and I'm going to predict that they put up 40 points on the Raiders. It's bittersweet, though, because now Cleveland is going to have a quarterback controversy. I'm just telling you all in advance. There's going to be a controversy. Shedeur is going to
They
play.
talking about they broken Shedeur crib.
Who broke a Shedeur crib?
That's what's on Cleveland.com.
Oh
He got
man,
home
y'all
from the
broke
game
it.
and his shit was broken in. The scummies.
And this is why Cleveland can't have shit. Because, like, like, why would you break in this man's house? But in Cleveland, nobody is safe. Unless you from Cleveland, you don't know this. Nobody is safe. I'm looking at it right now too. Can't confirm that Shedeur Sanders' house was broken into during the Browns' loss to the Ravens. Y'all gotta do better, bro. Just as a city, like y'all just gotta do better. Oh my god. But Shedeur, let's go back to that. Shedeur gives me hope. And if Shedeur comes and wins, if Shedeur wins 3 games, 4 games out of these next 7, it's going to be hard to play Deshaun Watson next year, which I would have preferred. Now, I think I've said this at the beginning of the year that Dylan Gabriel will play the rest of the games, and next year it'll be the quarterback competition between Deshaun and Shedeur. And I've also been on record by saying I would have sat Shedeur a couple of seasons. It's not because I don't believe in him. It's not because I'm down on Shedeur. It's because I believe in him that I genuinely believe that you're supposed to put him in the best position to succeed. And it's just not the best position to succeed with this offense. Now, it is very much possible, you know, that he's going to make these guys look better than what they would look, which is going to give the team false hope about what they should do in the offseason. But first off, Shedeur, we apologize that you had to go through that. We're praying for you, homie. I'm pretty sure you got high level insurance, so whatever they thought they came up on or whatnot, you're going to be able to replace tenfold. But dang, y'all. I was just in a nice little mode too till I just heard that. I'm pissed. They didn't even steal my stuff, and I'm upset. But no, Shedeur is probably going to take off. The other crazy part about this is when it comes to the division, especially the AFC North. The Steelers are 6-4. Baltimore is 5-5. The Cincinnati Bengals are 3-7. The Browns are 2-8. But if the Browns win 3-4 games in a row, that'll put them at 5-8, 6-8, with a chance to have a above 500 season. Oh man, but I'm happy Shedeur is getting a chance to play. I don't like that it's this early. Dylan Gabriel, bro, you've had 6 games to prove that you should be the starter, and you failed miserably. You failed miserably. So your season as a starting quarterback is over. And now you have to show that you can be rooting for Shedeur the same way he was rooting for you. So I ain't gonna even lie. This Shedeur news just lightweight just blew me with them bringing in this house, bro. It just lightweight just took my whole attention. I'm not gonna lie. I'm fucking upset. DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, Industry Sports, streaming on multiple media platforms: Facebook, X, which is Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. Follow us on IG at Industry Sports or at DeeTrynt. If you missed the live streams, you can catch the replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and various other streaming platforms. Just look for the Industry Sports channel, like, subscribe, share. Once you get in there, you'll see Game Changer Sports Talk with yours truly. Make sure you follow the Industry Sports social media page on Facebook. You get a lot of the updates of what's going on. Make sure you follow the moderators and the leaders of the group too as well. We do what we can to try to bring you quality everything. Oh my God! But with that being said, I it's so much to unpack. Let me before I go, let me say this about Kevin Stefanski. He looked a lot happier yesterday on the sidelines that he's not calling plays. And also, I thought he showed a lot of belief in Shedeur on the field with his interactions and the way that he communicated with him on the field. So, Kevin is still learning. Being a head coach comes with a lot of responsibility and a lot of different components. And dang, man, the Browns not gonna have a top 10 pick this year. Man, wait, really? Yeah, Arizona 3-7, New Orleans 2-8, and Atlanta 3-7, Minnesota 4-6, the Giants 2-9, the Raiders are 2-7, Tennessee's 1-9. Man. Damn, man. I'm so upset. Why would y'all break in this man's house? Why would y'all break in this man's house, man? What is wrong with y'all? I gotta go, man. It was a pleasure talking to y'all. I'm gonna come back tomorrow with a little less emotion, and I'll be able to talk a little more about the rest of the league and things that happened on Sunday. But Shedeur, it is your time, bro. I have very high belief that you will make the most of it. But with that being said, man, DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports. So, what's up, my guy? Clyde. Okay, hold on. Clyde and came up. I might extend for a little second. My guy, Clyde. What's going on? Clyde says, what up, my brother? What's going on, my guy? Shedeur looked effective to me. He looked pissed because Shedeur was not nervous. The supposed overthrow, it appeared to me he could have continued hustling and leaped. No, yeah. Isaiah Bond definitely could have made a more of an effort for the ball. At the same token, for the situation that Shedeur was put in, I'm not. Oh, what's going on, my guy? What up? For the situation he was thrown in, I wasn't very much judging of Shedeur. Yesterday with the time he had a quarter and 3/4, I needed to see some positives I can build off of. Shedeur, again, I said this earlier. Shedeur came in and he does two things that I look for a franchise quarterback to do. He gives you a chance to win the game when it matters. And these ain't the only two things. It's just two things. He gives you a chance to win the game when it matters. And he inspires the team to play better than they probably would. And he did both. Another component for a franchise quarterback is his ability to be accountable. And the fact that he felt like he let the team down was made me give him even more. Like, I have more respect for him. The fact that Myles Garrett came out and publicly endorsed him was a big, big sign as well. And again, Myles' growth as a leader this year has to be highly commended. You got your bag, bro, and you showing us why you got your bag, and you got that defense playing nice, bro. Toughness, subsequent throw for the touchdown. The receiver did not fight for the ball. He drifted as if he has to land in his hands. Well, you understand. Isaiah Bond is a rookie as well. As SSB, I missed you too. You said two things could be true. Shedeur didn't perform as well as he should have, nor did the coaches put him in the best position to succeed. Well, okay. So when we talk about best position to succeed, I know a lot of people harp on the fact that Shedeur doesn't get a lot of first team reps. And as I was saying earlier in the broadcast, when you have two rookies at quarterback, for one, when you have one rookie and you're trying to, help this rookie be what he can be, you have to give him 100% of the reps. It does you a disservice to have two rookie quarterbacks because it's hard for me to put the first rookie up in the best position to succeed when I have to split reps with you. It's the difference if you have a veteran, because a veteran knows how to play the game. So him missing reps doesn't take away from the years of experience he has at the position, which is okay to give a rookie. But to try to give two rookies it's just a hard position to be in, especially when you're doing it for a franchise who's still searching for an answer at that position, because now you put the team in a unnecessary rift. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, politics do play a big part in this type of situation. People keep saying Stefanski wants to see a Shedeur fail, and I don't agree. I don't agree. Okay, because something. Don't get me wrong. If it looks like a duck and quack like a duck, it's probably a duck. I totally get that. But also, because it looks like a duck, don't mean it's a duck either. It doesn't necessarily mean that. All right. He doesn't say Shedeur's name because people don't know how to act. Let every game that Stefanski was talking about Dylan Gabriel that he said Shedeur's name, the Cleveland media would have ran with that in so many different ways. Or maybe he doesn't have as much belief in Dylan as he says he do. The coach's job is to put as much belief in a player as he can when that player's turn is up. Yesterday's game plan for the Ravens, who's a Super Bowl roster, that game plan was built around Dylan Gabriel. You know what I'm saying? Claude says 2 weeks ago, Indiana came back to beat Penn State. Omar Cooper of IU to leap and catch the ball that was going out of bounds. Upon leaving and catching the ball, he heals his toe. I'm saying, Claude, I understand that. But you're expecting that from Isaiah Bond. And that's not the type of player Isaiah Bond is. I get exactly what you're saying, but you're having expectations from a receiver who doesn't do that. There's nothing on Isaiah Bond's tape in college that ever showed that he made those type of plays. Isaiah Bond is a Percy Harvin type of player, which means that's a guy that you want to get the ball to in space. That's not a guy you want to send on routes like that, even though I think he can develop into that type of receiver. That's just not who he is. When they gave him the end around yesterday, that's the type of player he is. They give that play to Malachi Corley a lot. They should be using Isaiah Bond in that way. They put Dylan Sampson in the backfield and they give him swing passes. That's what you do for Isaiah Bond. He has the speed and the athleticism to make guys miss in the open. You know what I mean? And you want to put a player in a position of their strengths. That's just not his. Now, had that been Jerry Jeudy, had that been David Njoku, had that been Cedric Tillman, yeah, bro, go make the play. But we got about a rookie quarterback throwing to a rookie receiver, and that rookie receiver didn't even get active for the Browns until like week 4. You know what I mean? I didn't have a lot of expectations for him, so I'm not mad. Now, if you keep making this type of mistake, then I have to hold you more accountable. But you're receiving passes from a guy that y'all didn't game plan for this, and game planning matters. So I'm not saying you're wrong for. I ain't gonna say you crucifying him, but for pointing out the fact that he didn't help out his quarterback. I agree with you. He did not help out his quarterback. But that's something that can be fixed. That is not one of those end all be alls. At some point, yeah, he can learn to do that. And that comes with learning to position a receiver. You know what I mean? But right now in Isaiah Bond's career, he's not that type of guy. SSB says also the O line is awful. No QB unless you're Patrick Mahomes or Lamar or Allen is going to succeed in that type of situation. Exactly. Which is one of the biggest reasons why I didn't want Shedeur playing. Shedeur hasn't played with a good offensive line his entire football career that I've watched. He didn't have an offensive line in Jackson State. He didn't have an offensive line in Colorado. So I don't like him being in this position. But again, politics play a big in this type of situation, as you said. And the fact that the owners like making money, Kevin Stefanski doesn't have a choice but to play Shedeur for the rest of the season. And because of how emotional the offensive line was yesterday, they get no more slack. I know y'all trash. What I mean by their trash is Ethan Postich has outplayed his talent for the last 4 seasons. He is not that good as a center. But he can be a serviceable complement to a good line. Wyatt Teller cannot pass block to save his life. He's horrible at pass blocking. At run blocking, he's one of the best in the league. At pass blocking, he is trash. Trash. Joe Bitonio is 36 years old. Joe Bitonio has never been that strong for the position. And he is not, he's above average run blocker, but he's a better pass blocker. But he's old and he can't shuffle his feet the way they normally could, but he still is a serviceable pass blocker. Cam Robinson went down, and as soon as they brought Levingston in, oh my God. Levingston is trash. Bruh, I would much rather see Jed Wills in the game than to see Levingston in the game. He is trash. Jack Conklin played yesterday, and Jack Conklin can't stay healthy. Well, SSB says Kevin has no leverage in this situation. Not sure what they see in DG. Again, he was a sacrifice, bro. The Browns had no plans. I don't see a world where the Browns had plans to be a playoff team this year. I very much believe that they were in tanking. And when you're tanking, you don't put the best guy in for the job. This is not defeats the purpose of tanking. Okay? So Dylan Gabriel being in was a key indication for me knowing that they wanted to tank. But now you can't tank anymore. Classy, I was looking for effort. That throw was similar to his agility as he threw the time touchdown to LeJohn. Oh, you saying in college when he used to do that? Yeah, but I think Isaiah will develop. Okay. I didn't see Thrash in the game. And I like, bruh, how do you say his name? How do you say Thrash's first name? It's not Jeremy. It's Gerard. It's not Jeremy. Is it Jeremiah? I hate messing up his name because first off, I think his first name is Fire. His parents came up with that name. His name is Gas. It's why I hate messing it up. And I'm usually pretty good with names, but I didn't see Thrash play yesterday. But with Shedeur, I think he's going to play. I like Gage Lavardian. I don't think Gage Lavardian should have been in a position to have to make that. It should have been a different receiver. But, hey. And Isaiah Bond played with emotion yesterday. He played with a guy who believed that he had the right quarterback behind center. So, as it stands now, Shedeur will get all the first team reps, and he will be the guy starting in Las Vegas. And I expect. Here we go with this expectation word, but I have to finish the sentence. I expect for it to be a lot cleaner game. I expect for Shedeur to have more command of the offense than DG ever did. I expect more completions. I mean, he only had 4 completions this game out of 16 attempts. I expect those numbers to be doubled. If if Dylan Gabriel was allowed to throw 50 and 40 times in a game, there's nothing that leads me to believe that Shedeur will not be given the same opportunity to throw 40 or 50 times in the game. Also, I see the Browns planning December 14th, Shedeur versus Caleb in Chicago. Caleb looked much more defined under his new coach. Hey, if Kevin Stefanski is on his way out, bro, he's on his way out. It's not a move I will particularly make, but I understand the reasoning. I get it. All right. He's damned if he don't, he's damned if he do. But I want to keep reminding people that a new head coach is going to break this team up. And that may include the defense as well. Like, I need people to understand this. A new coach is going to come with a new philosophy, and he's going to want to have his guys in. It's not like they're going to hire a new coach. They're going to keep the whole offensive staff and the whole defensive staff. There may be certain select personalities and individuals that stay, but they're very much going to change the entire roster. And now we're looking at another rebuild. Right now, we're not even in a total rebuild. We're just getting the offense to a more digestible or a more competitive state. And, but new coach talk is for the offseason. And we're not in the offseason. It is still 7 games left on the schedule. So I need to see what they're going to do. But I am of the belief that Dylan Gabriel, barring a crazy circumstance, Dylan Gabriel's season is over as a Brown starting quarterback. It's a wrap. He it's over. It's over. It's over. His starting career is over. And I got a lot of belief in Shedeur, man. I really do. I got a lot of belief in Shedeur. And this offensive line is going to be under investigation. You guys are going to have to open up running lanes for Quinshawn, and Tommy Reese is going to have to show us what he can do. With that being said, though, man, I'm about to let y'all go. We're going to definitely resume this tomorrow earlier, probably more around like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, man. DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, Industry Sports, streaming on multiple media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, which is X, YouTube, Twitch. Follow us on IG at Industry Sports or at DeeTrynt. If you missed the live streams, you can catch the replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and various other streaming platforms, including the social site. Just look for Industry Sports, like, subscribe, share, follow. Once you get in there, you'll see Game Changer Sports Talk with yours truly. I think the Cavs playing tonight. So let's see what these Cavs do. We'll talk more about the Cavs tomorrow. But I just wanted to come in and talk about these Browns a little bit. A shout out to Shedeur for getting this opportunity. Please make the most of it, my guy, because you give me hope. And with that said, man, stop breaking in that man's house. Damn. Man, y'all have a great one. Much love. Enjoy your evenings. Kiss your loved ones. I'm going to catch y'all later.